Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
What's up, most excellent friends?
It's Chrissy and Nathan from the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast.
It's a podcast where a filmmaker and a comedian
And their most excellent guests
adventure their way through the 80s movies we think we love
or might have missed.
with our grown-up eyes to see how they hold up.
Join us for delightful discussion,
Rollicking recaps.
ratings, and deep-cut recommendations.
Plus, members get some extra fun chit-chat with the hosts after the show.
Download the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast today at truestory.fm.
Or find it wherever the finest podcasts are stored.
And do remember to keep the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast motto in mind.
Be excellent to each other and...
Party on.
Party on, dudes.
Oh, there you are. I was hoping I'd cross paths with you today. I'd like to invite you to visit the Storywell. It's a place where storytellers of all stripes gather. From improv performers to authors, screenwriters to playwrights, we all tell stories. But we're not here to talk about craft. We're here to make something out of nothing. Each episode of the podcast, your host, that's me, sits down with a creative person, and based on a series of random prompts, we get elements that we make into a story. Will it be a noir novel about King Kong? Or a Broadway musical about JFK? Even we don't know. That's the fun part. But what do you get out of this, besides a good time with fun people? Simple. The idea is then yours. That's right. Whatever we come up with, we give it away for anyone to use however they'd like, no strings attached. It's like each episode comes with a free prize inside. The Storywell with Kyle Olson. We'll save you a seat at the table. Weekly podcast, which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 5-minute segments and then examine them in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Storywell podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Kubasko. And Kyle.
Yes, Rob.
Did you know that To Tell the Truth was an American television game show where 4 celebrity panelists are presented with 3 contestants and must identify which one owns the true identity of an occupation read aloud by the show's host? Do you remember that show?
I do.
Yeah,
there's a couple things have come up in the age of weird social media of cartoon actors who showed up on there. So like the voice of Fred Flintstone was in one, and the voice of I can't remember, but they occasionally would show up, and because you have no idea what a voice actor looks like for the most part.
Sure, right.
Especially back then.
Yeah. All right. So imagine you are a panelist.
Okay.
And I introduce you to our 3 contestants. They are Makoto Hagiwara, David Young, and Saiichi Kito. And I tell you that one of them is the inventor of the fortune cookie. Now, you don't have to guess, because no matter what you guess, you'd be wrong. Because all 3 claim to be the inventor of the fortune cookie.
That's right. Why is that important? I guess I'll just stick around to find out.
Okay, wait. So the one thing I got to just add, though, is here's the amusing thing. I think most people know fortune cookies are not Chinese. They're an American, and invented on American soil.
Yeah.
But their roots are in Japan.
Yeah.
They are rooted from like the 1800s. There was a tea cake. So that plays into this, what we're about to talk about.
That's right, because here we are at minute 26 of Iron Man 3 from the far off year of 2013, directed by Shane Black, written by Shane Black and Drew Pearce. We are picking up at Man's Chinese Theater, where we have Savin confronting Happy. And apparently they decide to, instead of having a full-on throwdown or maybe a rap battle, they decide to just throw toxic masculinity at each other. Because this is rough.
Oh, Happy. Wait a minute.
Both Happy and... Okay, Savin already is a villain. So
Savin, we already know Savin. Savin was man-spreading in the Stark Industries place.
Yeah.
Happy, come on, man.
Come on, man. Like, you're not I'm trying to defend you here, buddy, but you're not making it easy.
No. Also, you know what? We also had an alternative, I should say, intro. I could have told you that, The Party's Over is actually a 1965 British film Directed by Guy Hamilton, starring Oliver Reed. It was filmed in 1963, but was censored over scenes of implied necrophilia.
Whoa.
Which delayed its release until 65.
Wow. And yet we flash forward to 1988, and we have Weekend at Bernie's with just off screen necrophilia, and that apparently is not a problem. So how the world turns,
I don't know.
I guess things are getting better.
Oh, Happy.
Oh, Happy. Yeah. So yeah, we have Savin says, you out by yourself, little date night, seeing your favorite chick flick, which, oh man, I don't like we're in a Marvel movie minute by minute podcast. But I don't know. I don't want to dig much into this, but
no,
the insult is that Happy likes going to chick flicks. That's another thing of his insult to his manhood of you'd go to see movies about men and women getting together, because that's what most rom-coms are.
Though Happy is this is like the target audience for Happy.
Right.
If you really want to light him up.
Yeah, he really does enjoy a chick flick. That's been established.
As we find out.
And then Happy replies, a little movie called The Party's Over, starring Yuri Lowenthal. I did not know that there was a real movie called
That's a real movie.
Party's Over. Okay. Do you think it's something Happy would have actually seen?
No, I actually think this is a total unintended consequence.
Does it sound like the kind of movie he would watch, though? Him and Tony on movie nights?
I don't think
break out the banned media?
No.
It's starring you and your little junky girlfriend. Now, okay, so
that's
we've
rough.
got, I mean, come on.
No, that's rough.
Shane, Drew, you do better.
Come on, man.
Come on.
But also, it is a character arc. Now, here's the deal. I can't believe I'm going to defend this. I'm not. I'm just saying.
I've been having this conversation on other people too, not speaking about this, but saying it's okay when villains say bad things, because they're villains.
And this is a character arc. Well, no, villains, but also this is a huge character arc for Happy. It is part of it. Oh no, it's part of his story. So he's a dork. And now he's about to find out. So it's okay. I mean, kind of. Oh, boy.
So then, as Lin-Manuel Miranda said, you have musicals and action movies. When the words stop, that's when you either sing a song or you throw punches. And that's what we have here. So we have them throwing punches. So Happy punches Savin. And instead of being laying him out or even taking it, his body turns orange. And the wound he puts on starts to heal. So all of a sudden we go, oh, Savin's got the stuff too.
By the way, do you like how he when Happy throws a punch, by the way, no, Happy's a boxer, so his punches are real. He throws the first punch. He completely misses it.
Yeah.
And then he lets him clock him with the second punch. Because I think what the guy realizes is, oh, no, I'm not going to let you off easy. I want you to think you got me, and I'm going to destroy you. So I love that is actually a cool little play there, is his tactic.
Yeah. And as we see then, as Happy gets pushed back, we see in the background, we see a sign for the Starline Tours. The Starline Tours were originally started as the Movie Stars Home Tour. So when Mr. Sid Grauman, creator of, yes, that's right, this famous Chinese theater that we're in front of, gave his chauffeur, a man named Bud Delp, go the 1930s. You could have walking around with a name like Bud Delp.
That's amazing.
The idea of driving people around Hollywood to see the homes of celebrities. So 1935 it started, and it is still running even to this day. I went onto their website, and I actually pulled that information from there. They are still. You get in a bus, you drive around. You can also get an audio guide. You can do for specific shows or celebrities. You can travel around. They are still going out there and pointing at stars' houses. So it's what another reason when you're a celebrity to move to Hollywood, because you can see if you need that little extra dose of fame, you can stand outside when the bus drives by and wave to them in your bathrobe.
Great.
So we have as the fight continues, then Savin throws Happy through the souvenir stand that he was using before to look in the mirror and see there, and take the hit. Happy tries to get himself up. As Savin comes over to confront him, it's really hard to do with a fight scene because it's like I don't want to be like left, right.
Happy misses a punch, he lands a punch, and then he gets his ass kicked. And I mean, like his arm broken, flung through the air. And by the way, when I saw this, the first thing I thought of, this is in my notes, he got jingled all the way. Because this and I'm connecting all the Christmas dots here. There's that scene in Jingle All the Way, which, Arnold Schwarzenegger fights a whole bunch of Santa Clauses in a warehouse. And that's the kind of fight this is at that moment. He gets flung. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's done. Like, all I wanted to say was, Happy, stay down. You're done. Stay down.
Yeah, I know.
Just
yeah,
done.
Just tap out. But we do see then that Savin has not only healing abilities, but he actually is extremely strong as well because he basically, picks up Happy and just chucks him. So he goes through and crashes down to the ground. And it looks like Happy's ready to go another round, and Savin's come over and probably going to take him out. But then Taggart is over there and has basically inhaled whatever this thing is. He's cracked open one of these little vials that he has and injected. And apparently he could not calibrate because he yells, "Help me," and starts glowing uncontrollably orange. And Savin immediately knows what this is, even though no one else does, and runs to get out of the way. And then as we get to the end of minute 26, that's when Taggart explodes. He
microwaves himself. And as you've ever seen, like put a potato in a microwave, that is what happens here.
Yeah, it's messy. It's I gotta say though, I mean, I know that there's in this movie of a lot of special effects flying around. Like, it's a pretty good explosion. Like, I guess they've gotten to the point now where like the explosions are pretty easy maybe to do on a computer, more than like, let's say someone getting pinned underwater in an iron suit or something. But like this it's a pretty impressive show of explosion there too. Obviously you're not going to actually go to the Chinese theater and set off an explosion in front of it.
Right. The Extremis effect is amazing.
Yeah.
And the vaporization, you can literally see the people that are near it are vaporized.
So we have then the explosion and everything freaking out and stuff too. And then we have just that quiet afterwards as everyone's in the smoke and confusion and going around. We see the silhouettes on the wall, which will become an important thing later, but that's actually from like, that's not to get too dark into stuff too, but this is a real thing when certain types of bombs go off, that's all that's left behind is sort of like a shadow.
By the way, did you I know we've talked about this, too real. Like this movie is filled with real world references of destruction and violence. That's another one of them right there.
Yeah, that is very true. And speaking of real world destruction and violence, there's a pair of dog tags laying on the ground. So Happy sees this and makes this is some pretty good situational awareness, though, that after having this fight and stuff too, he has the sense to not only go, I'm about to lose consciousness, I need to know, and then knows that Tony is going to do what he does later on, which we'll only see a little bit of as we go through. We'll talk about that in a future episode. Rikio to do his investigation, telling Tony where to look for evidence, even though he's not going to be there when it happens. Like, that's like, in no words, but the fact that he has this presence of mind to figure this out is pretty impressive.
I mean,
for Happy, especially the way
his head's not turned enough. It's not realistic.
Realistic. A man just exploded.
He can't see that. It's like that's in the very
realistic. Yeah,
that's the very edge of his peripheral. He can't tell those are dark tags. There's ash and cinder blowing the sky. That's nonsense.
Then as he thinks like, oh, everyone's dead. It turns out, no, Savin is not dead. We see him pull himself up and orange glowing, and all of his skin and stuff is healing at a rapid rate. So not even Wolverine thing. Like, this is even faster than that, as he's like, his body is doing this orange crackly thing and literally rebuilding itself. We see part of his arm is gone and sort of comes back as he's walking through and is unperturbed. I'd say I gotta give it up. Like Savin is pretty cool in this thing in terms of like, oh no, not again kind of thing. Like as he's just casually walking through this crowd, his gum survived. So even though he got, like blasted with this thing and has pulled himself together and clearly has, it looks like most of his face was burned that he's going through, he still has gum in his pocket and pops it in and then just casually walks to the crowd and out as Happy loses consciousness.
When I saw this, I was like, first of all, I said, wow, Gus Fring could have really used some Extremis.
Yeah, honestly.
Breaking Bad fans, You know what I'm talking about. So that's first. Number two, that shot of his foot with the healing going on and the half of his toes blown off, the effects are crazy good with this. Really looks great.
Like you could really do a lot of sort of like, pieces of stuff coming up, but like it's very clean the way they do this. I couldn't even think of anything I'd seen that was like this. We've seen obviously, the X-Men movie came out in 2001 or something. I mean, like it was, and we saw Wolverine healing in that, but I've never really seen anything like this that I could think of. Like this sort of style to it. So I mean, like this is pretty cool.
By the way, and what's cool about this is you normally would use, like, especially with this type of CGI, you'd be like, okay, the darkness will help us hide the imperfections. Because of the lighting, it's absolutely perfect. Like this is just, it's beautiful. Well done.
Yeah. Marvel does a really good job with colors, as I'm sort of watching some of their other stuff too of the time energy being green or like Agatha's energy being purple. Like there's always a nice sort of definite thing. So whose thing is involved. Iron Man's gauntlets are always white, like when he blasts someone. Yeah, it's really, they do a nice job of like that comic book sort of color, even though they have some color issues. Other stuff, I like the fact they have a color sort of attached to a power or a character, so you can kind of find them. And so Savin walks away, Happy loses consciousness, and we cut to another Mandarin video. That's right, more propaganda. So this is, as we alluded to in the front, it's all about fortune cookies and the origins of them. And I had done the same research and found out that there was. The whole, what he's saying is not exactly wrong, but it's not exactly true either. There are those three guys that all claim that they invented, but they're all Americans. So San Francisco and Los Angeles, they're all from. They all claim that they invented. But if you go back to the 19th century, there's a cookie that was made in Kyoto, Japan, called the omakuji. This is from the Wikipedia entry. It says the Japanese version of the cookie differs in several ways. They're a little bit larger. They're made of butter, but they do contain a fortune, and it was wedged into the bend of the cookie. So it's still sold, they say, in some regions of Japan, especially in Ishikawa. But so from that, then that was taken by Americans of Chinese descent,
or Japanese,
yeah, exactly. Like there's multiple depending on what it is. Because like, let's see, Makoto Hajigara is from Golden Gate Park's Japanese Tea Garden. David Young is the founder of the Hong Kong Noodle Company, and Seishi Kito is the founder of the Fugitsudo of Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. So, and all American too. So it's like it's this blend of multicultural things, and yeah, so there's a big fight over who it is that invented the American fortune cookie.
The Japanese Tea Garden, by the way, in San Francisco is amazing. If you haven't been there, please go. I thought the most interesting part about this story is that if you think, okay, so it happens in America, but it is of this Japanese sort of cultural translation from what was going on in Japan. How does it become associated with Chinese food and Chinese restaurants? The interesting theory is that this happens around World War II, when a whole bunch of Japanese Americans are rounded up and put into internment camps. And that's literally where the transition happens, which is, it's amazing to understand how the dots connect in history. And
yeah, so it's and how we keep coming up on these things. Like as we're trying to do like an entertainment podcast, we rush up against things and then like it's just scratched down a little deeper and you find something, you go, oh.
Yes. Are you happy that I chose the fortune cookie intro instead of the slap chop intro?
Yes. It does get us into something. So I can tell you that there are approximately 3 billion fortune cookies made each year globally, and the majority of them are consumed right here in the good old US of A. The largest manufacturer of the cookies is Wonton Food, which is headquartered in Brooklyn, baby. They make over 4.5 million fortune cookies per day.
And I just want to add that they never lie to me, and they are always sweet and satisfying after I eat one. So I don't know what they're talking. I don't know what he's talking about. They're delicious.
Yeah, maybe the Mandarin just got a bad batch.
Whatever,
of fortune
dude.
cookies.
Yeah, well,
I know there's some places I go to that give fortune cookies out, and they're not very good fortune cookies. So there are good ones and bad ones. I think out there. I think it's depending on the style. But of course, the ones from Wonton Food are. Sounds like they're our sponsor or something like that. Today's episode brought to you by Wonton Food, makers of billions of fortune cookies. So we have at the end of that video then of talking about the history of fortune cookies, we have another one of the Mandarin's iconic lines of "Your graduation is coming," and then we cut to "Happy in a coma." There's a sentence I never thought I'd said. Happy in a coma. I know that it's serious.
Okay, so I just want to circle back on just one real quick thing.
Sure.
We see all this stuff, these shots and everything, and he ends with an actual picture of the president getting shot to the forehead.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I mean, look, and I get it. Like, I understand the story they're trying to show. And I guess what as I'm watching this now for the second time, I wonder if this is like really trying to show they're overemphasizing it. Like he's overacting it. It's over theatrical. I will still say that it's I don't know. I don't know what I think about it.
Yeah. I mean that we will eventually learn that all this is a work, and most of what we're seeing is not true and did not happen. They're just taking credit for stuff they had nothing to do with.
But it's not cool though. When you do this, this is what anyway.
Yeah, that's what we think. Yeah. So as Happy's in his coma, we meet his nurse. So his nurse is played by Brooke J. Taylor. She has 62 credits on IMDb. She has notable appearances in Freaky, which was the Vince Vaughn body swap horror movie, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Game Night, and Disney's The Jungle Cruise movie. She's had also a prominent TV roles on Army Wives, Walking Dead, Will Trent, and Doom Patrol. In addition to obviously a pretty good career, still working on a lot of stuff, she has a side hustle. If you are in the Atlanta area and you need to have an audition taped, she is a owner of a business called Get Taped. She and her husband, Matthew Cornwell, have started this little small company. So if you need to get a tape for a professional audition, because Atlanta is a hotbed, especially for MCU stuff right now, they have a whole studio built down there. They can help you get that set up. So they're available for that. Matthew Cornwell has an interesting connection to the Marvel Universe. He played Thor in the Avengers Assemble cartoon.
Oh, wow.
So, part of the multiverse, but still out there. He also had a really good role in a spectacular movie called The Menu, which if you have not seen, you should definitely check that out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they've been together for a while, and they have this business together too. So it's nice to have a side hustle, because acting can be a little upsy downsy.
Totally good for her and them. That's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we see that on the TV in the background, they are watching Downton Abbey. Are you a Downton Abbey fan, Rob?
No, I was not.
I was not either. There's some things that, like, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but there's just some things I look at and I go, I don't understand why people want to see these things. Like, once again, like I said, I also don't watch sports. So like, I'm in the minority. I get that. But I don't understand why, especially Americans, like to watch British aristocracy, like why they like the upstairs downstairs sort of like rich people being rich. I don't understand what's entertaining about that, and maybe there's more to it than that. Like I said, it was never for me.
Watch me put both feet in my mouth. I've always thought Downton Abbey is like watching golf. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
No.
Like, there's so much better things.
If you're out there and you're like both those things, we're kidding.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'd say well, once again, like if people, my sister I know is a huge fan of it and like got so excited, she was like, "Oh, the movie's coming out." I'm like, "They're making a movie."
A movie.
Of Downton, like just like it's just rich people in a house. I don't understand, but hey, but for those who don't know, Downton Abbey is a British historical drama set in the early 20th century. It was created and co-written by Julian Fellows. First aired in the UK in 2010, and then later in the US on PBS, which supported its production as part of its Masterpiece Classic anthology. The show ran for 52 episodes across 6 series, including 5 Christmas specials. So, like, Doctor Who still got a beat, but hey, 5 Christmas specials for a BBC show is pretty impressive. So, what's interesting about what they're seeing, though, like as it's playing out, is there's 2 different episodes, and they're being played in the wrong order. So people have actually gone through, because there are people, apparently there is a Venn diagram out there of people who love Iron Man 3, or at least the MCU, and love Downton Abbey. So they went through and found out what scenes those are. That's awesome. I found this on Reddit. So apparently the first scene he's watching is from season 2, episode 5. As one of Sybil's lines is in the scene about William dying. And then the second half is from season 2, episode 4. So I'm not sure why they did them in that order. It must have just been like a weird editing thing of how the scene came together.
Okay, I just want to say this, because obviously that's inlaid. That's put into the
later
scene in post-production.
I'm sure that it was just a blank screen.
And I am sure, now I could be wrong, but I would think that somebody said, hey, it's Downton Abbey. Find the most Downton Abbeyest Downton Abbey scene you can find, and just put them there. But don't make sure it's the same scene over and over again. And then they were probably like, and we also don't make sure Maggie Smith is not in the scene, because then we got to pay Warner Brothers royalties, and that just seems wrong. So just don't do that.
They talk a little bit, and people were like going on about what's going on, but I don't know who these people are. Like, the second scene, they say it's the first time Mary catches Sybil talking to Branson in private, which maybe all the Downton Abbey people was like, ooh,
oh my God.
I just go, okay.
But isn't this sweet? We find out why it's on the TV.
Why it's on the TV is because this is a show that Tony and Happy watch together, and Tony is there in the room with him. And as the nurse goes to shut it off, he stops her and says that this is, and apparently this actually was a Jon Favreau thing, saying like, oh, Happy should be watching Downton Abbey. Like, this was his idea. So even though he's at this point just an actor, still throwing that creative weight around of being like, hey, what would be really good, and I think it really works in terms. It's very charming to me, the idea that in stately Stark Manor, that like Tony and Happy are sitting there with, I think, a popcorn between them, watching Downton Abbey, and entirely focused on it too. And the ladies aren't even there. Like, Pepper's out doing her CEO stuff, and the two of them are just like in the, with Dummy and you watching Downton Abbey. Like, that's just
as he said, he thinks it's elegant.
Yeah.
Let Happy have his elegance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a bit of, obviously in this movie, there is a bit of upstairs, downstairs, which is another television show that was about the people above and people below, the workers and the people they work for. And so there's some of that too, because I mean, Happy, I'm sure, really can empathize with that idea of like, there's rich people that you work for and you become close to, which is a factor in Downton Abbey. And they have the two of them hanging out, which is part of it too. And then as you can see, Tony is very upset about this whole situation and how it is. And as he's leaving, he says, make sure everyone wears their badges. He's a stickler for that, which is like, you can tell he's actually really emotional about that thing, which is sort of like a nice payoff to the earlier thing of, Happy being really petty about that he was paying attention and he did listen. And then he says, at the end, he says, plus my guys won't let anyone in. So it's like, oh, your guys. That's interesting, because we never see any of these guys. So are there other Stark security people? I mean, obviously, Happy has to be
he's the head
of the staff.
Right.
But we never see what a Stark security guard looks like. Do they have Stark weaponry? Do they have... Are they just guys in suits with little earbuds in
with hidden things, I would assume.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm like, what is the hidden guard of what are the from Black Panther? What are the
Dora
Milaje? Yeah, what are the Dora Milaje of Stark Industries like?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. So as they come out here, let's see where we're at. 1 minute 29. As they come out, Stark exits the hospital, but once again, a little bit of movie trickery is involved because as he exits, he is actually at the New Hanover Regional Medical Center in Wilmington, Virginia. That's just what they built to be the hospital outside. You see a bunch of news reporters are waiting outside for him to come out. We see a KRXJ van parked nearby. Remember that. It's going to be important in our next episode. And then and as Tony comes walking out, a reporter immediately runs up to him and starts asking him questions. So this is Kim Holderness. She has 2 credits on IMDb, but worry not for Kim Holderness because she has done well for herself. After sort of doing this job, she became an influencer. So she is part of the Holderness family on social media, and they are doing pretty well. They're one of the big ones out there. Also, her husband, Penn, is in this scene. He's in this movie too. So the two of them have a little social media empire running over there. So you can.
Did that come after this movie?
Or it comes after this movie. Yeah, they
Really?
basically pivoted from acting to doing this, and they have their kids and they're living that social life. Hopefully, the algorithms are treating them well.
Yes.
And we have a reporter then that comes pushes his way to the front. His voice is dubbed in as he comes in, as he asks the question, like directly to Tony, confronting him with this thing. The reason that is because that actor is British. So this is Glenn Foster. He is someone who has been around and will be around for a long time, but you probably won't see his face again because he's a stuntman. He's Robert Downey Jr.'s stuntman. He's RDJ's stunt double and has been for many years and is still until he has 68 stunt credits on IMDb. So we've actually seen him before in this movie. He was the one flying through the air after all the suit pieces got launched and the big fall. That was this guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So they met on Sherlock Holmes. And like since then, he has been Robert Downey Jr.'s stunt double.
When you see the close-up of him, you can see how that works.
Yeah.
He's got the same jaw shape and everything. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. You called him a journalist?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
do we not have a theory?
Oh, you think this is a plant? This is
a plant. Do you know why? Okay, here's why I say it. So wait, we have a great piece of dialogue here, right? Mm-hmm. So he comes in and really smart. And by the way, he comes in with his phone. He doesn't have any professional equipment or anything else.
Rob, do you know what phone he's using there?
Oh, crap. No.
It's the Alcatel One Touch Idol.
Son of a gun. Oh, I got so into my theory, I forgot. Well, of course it's an Alcatel.
Of course it is.
Alcatel, the official mobile phone sponsor, or I should say mobile phone sponsor if he's British, of Iron Man 3.
That's right.
Oh.
And what does he say as he's holding out the Alcatel One Touch?
So he basically says, when is someone going to kill this guy? Just saying. And then Tony goes into this whole thing. And actually, it's pretty great, although angry and unfortunate. He's like, I have the whole thing here. Here's a little holiday greeting I've been wanting to send to the Mandarin. I just didn't know how to phrase it until now. My name is Tony Stark, and I'm not afraid of you. I know you're a coward, so I decided that you just died, pal. I'm going to come get the body. There's no politics here. It's just good old-fashioned revenge. There's no Pentagon. It's just you and me. And on the off chance you're a man, here's my home address, 10880 Malibu Point 90265. Leave the door unlocked. That's what you want, right? And he takes the phone and he smashes it. Here's the issue.
The Alcatel One Touch Idol, no.
Bad. I'm sure he has it insured. Get an iPhone. So while he's saying this, when Tony's saying this, the guy is maniacally smiling. And I am convinced this is a plant by the Mandarin's people, quote unquote, to say, hey, let's get him agitated. Let's try to, because again, it's theatrical. Let's make him the villain with this bravado and this revenge and everything else. Because we come to an interesting plot point in this movie which I think I have trouble with. He gives out his home address.
Yes.
Like that's somehow not already public information.
Right.
And when he does it, it's more, I don't know if it's more of a like, well, here, let me show you, right? Everybody knows where Tony Stark lives.
Yeah, I mean, like you're telling me there's not a Starline tour in Malibu that drives by and goes Stark Manor right there.
That's the Cliff
Look,
House.
If you know exactly, there's people camped out there of like maybe we'll see Iron Man flying out one of these days. I mean, he had a huge party there in the last movie,
and he had an incident there.
Yeah,
with stuff happening.
Right,
boom booms. Right. Here's the deal. This bothers me. And I'm hoping that it's just a throwaway line that will not be referenced again. Tune into the next episode. But I mean, I just have it. That just seems weird. But I'm trying to make it better by thinking this guy is seriously there just to agitate Tony. It's an intentional plan.
Yeah, I think it tracks. Either he was hired to do this, or he was deliberately like wahaha part of the Mandarin's plot. Either way, okay. So the address he gives out is not. It is a real address, except there's nothing there. It is just like as we see. It is a totally different thing. So if you go to that address, there's nothing there. I also like these as he smashes the phone. He says, "Bill me." So it's like, well, you give us a address, so now you can go serve papers. I'm like, you told me you'd replace my Alcatel One-Touch Idol. But we just got the money because he drives away in the 2013 Audi R8 e-tron Type 42 prototype. So this was actually an electric car, and it had not been made yet. This was literally the only one in existence at the time they did there. So Stark has still got some pull, even though he's not making weapons anymore.
Doesn't it bum you out when you see a car as beautiful as this? And those, I'm about to.
Yeah, I was saying,
like,
why?
Is something
going to happen bad to that car? I don't understand. It's one of a kind. I mean, I'm sure he'd take care of it. Like nothing bad's going to happen to the car. Is it right?
No, it's not that. It's the stupid California rules of acquiring a license plate on the front of a car.
Oh yes.
Come on, man.
They're not the only ones.
I know they're not the only ones, but that's the ones right here. That car's beautiful, and then there's a license plate in the middle of the grill. Give me a break.
Yeah. And, then they get you traffic cams both ways, right?
I mean, come on.
So we come back to stately Stark Manor. So we have Jarvis has and he says as he's putting the information together, I've compiled a Mandarin database for you, drawn from FBI, SHIELD, and CIA intercepts. Which is, I think, the word intercepts there is interesting too, because this implies that this is stolen data.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't like using the Avengers connections or any of that kind of stuff. Like this is stuff that like he's basically pirated these signals, gotten this information. He's hacked in and gotten it and brought it back out. Ooh, a little bit of Ultron sneaking through in Jarvis there. And as we see, he's not entirely, he's not he's a very helpful person, but he's not the greatest in terms of moralizing in this movie and making good sound judgments, as we'll see as he goes on. So then he says he's initializing virtual crime scene reconstruction. And unfortunately, that is where our minute comes to an end. We don't actually see the thing.
I can't wait. There's so much to talk about in the next episode. But I do want to say this.
Yeah.
There is a shot as he's talking about this intercepted data. There's a shot of seeing everything on the screen. And I got to tell you this. Normally, we applaud and laud all of the wonderful design work that's being done.
Yeah.
Not this time. There is all these images in the hologram, right? And it's a picture of the Mandarin, it's a picture of the theater, and it's just a lot of meaningless other stuff in the boxes around it, like access, image trace, server trace. And you can tell everybody was like, hey, just have a lot of stuff on there.
Boxes, so many boxes.
There is nothing hidden in here. There is no other Easter eggs. It's just, wow, that looks complicated. Way to go, Jarvis. Maybe you should use some of your computing for some other tasks.
Yeah, this
spoiler.
Would be like, if you go to to read, this is when you click over to go check a website on your phone without your ad blockers, and it's just like you can't tell what the text is and what the ad is and what the box is and what the cookie thing is. It's just like this is too much. I don't need all this information.
No, stop.
Like summarize, please.
Anyway, wow.
So yeah, while you're as you're going through trying to sort through all the information in your life, one more website you can add to your list to check is truestory.fm/join, where you can become a member of the True Story family, a member of our happy little crew, and you can get access to Discord servers that no one else can access to. You get episodes early. You can get ad-free episodes, always a plus. And for just a mere $5 a month, 5 smackaroos, and it'll get you access to all of that stuff and more as we go on. As we're rolling into a brand new year, who knows what the future might hold, but you can be on the cutting edge of podcast technology by just joining us over at truestory.fm. So anytime, thank you all for coming along with us this far. We got some virtual crime scenes coming up. We have some exciting suit up that is going to be happening, and the return of one of our old favorites. You don't want to miss it. We'll be here. We hope you're there too. Enough said.
Bye.